Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello to you and welcome back to the channel where you join me on the Ferrari stand at the 2018 Geneva Motorshow, where behind me we have the new Ferrari 488 Pista, the track special version of the 488 GTB, and we're going to take a first look at it, go inside out, talk about some of the numbers and details about this incredibly quick machine that has just been launched here, the world debut premiere. We've got two of them to admire today, so let's get started and check out the new 488 Pista. As the name suggests, this car is honed for the racetrack. Pista is quite literally the Italian word for track. You might be familiar with the Pista di Fiorano, Ferrari's test track in Maranello, Italy, where quite a significant amount of development work has gone into making this a very quick car around that circuit, posting a time of 1 minute 21.5 seconds, which is a full 1.5 seconds quicker than its mainstream sibling, the 488 GTB. So that comes through a whole host of upgrades and modifications and changes to the aerodynamics, to the powertrain, although still based on the 3.9 litre twin turbocharged V8, but now with 720 horsepower, 770 Newton meters. Of course, it's a mid-rear mounted engine, all rear-wheel drive, 7-speed automatic double-clutch gearbox, but this car will do 0 to 62 miles per hour, 100 kilometers an hour, in just 2.85 seconds. It will go up to 200 kilometers an hour, 124 miles per hour, in a mere 7.6. It will then go up to a top speed of 340 kilometers an hour, 211 miles per hour. So this is, without a doubt, a spectacularly fast car. To give it some perspective, Ferrari's recent hypercar, the LaFerrari, was claimed to do just under 1 minute 20 at Fiorano, so it's only a small fraction behind their hypercar. It's also the most powerful V8 that Ferrari have made at that 720 horsepower number, and it follows this lineage of these track special versions of their V8s that Ferrari have made. So you'll be familiar before now with the Challenge Stradale that was born out of the 360 Modena. We had the F430 Scuderia, or the 430 Scuderia, sorry, born out of the F430, and then most recently the Speciale, the last of the naturally aspirated V8s from the 458 Italia, a car that has been very, very sought after since its release. So the way it goes about achieving some of that performance is from the aerodynamics that you can see around the car. So it's 20% more in terms of downforce than the regular 488 GTB, and that comes from a number of areas that I'll describe as we come in a little bit closer and just take more of a detailed look around the car. So for example, around here at the front you have an S-duct system, and if I come in just a little bit closer, you can literally see the floor straight through that hole in the bonnet. That's because the air is brought in, taken up, and that gives it more push down at the front end, more downforce, ultimately more grip, more ability to go through corners at speed than it would have otherwise. And that's not the only thing, because as we're down here at the front, you can see the openings, the large intakes, this fairly open mesh grille actually, to let as much air as possible enter through the car and help it stick to the ground. Obviously it's also wearing the Michelin Sport Cup 2 sticky rubber tyres that we'll see as it spins around in a second, but lots of trickery with the aero play here, lots of carbon fibre. You'll notice the visual carbon fibre parts around the car, most of which is actually standard, and we'll be able to see the one optional part on this car in a moment, but also you can just see all of the intricate design work that's done. So the wheels, I particularly like this wheel design. Also available is a carbon fibre wheel as well. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but as it continues to spin around, just look at the shapes and the cutaways, and for example under the side there at the rear of the side skirt, it has a smooth sort of curved surface on the inside just to control the airflow and pull it away from the wheels. Because of the way it's changed airflow around the front, the radiators have been repositioned from their original, it was originally this way in the 488 to this way in the Pista, to redirect airflow and control where it comes out through the arches, reduce swelling, and obviously direct the cooler air that you want towards the intakes for various aspects at the rear. So this intake here, the side vent, used to have a 2/3 part with a splitter divider before the third at the top. So the bottom was to cool the intercoolers, the top was for the engine cooling, which has now moved towards the rear. That's meant that they can cool, have a 7% larger radiator, which allows 25% more cooling for that whopping engine that sits underneath the glass window at the back of the car. Now as it spins around, there is a lot to talk about here at the rear. The wing itself sits 30mm taller, 40mm further back. You can see it has that almost ducktail approach for sticking down at the rear. Carbon fibre, this is actually the carbon fibre part that's optional on the car, but you can see here this is where the airflow comes through for cooling of that engine. So it comes in and pulls back on itself almost to bring cool air through. So where you can see that glorious carbon fibre cabin for the engine there at the rear of the car, which is a beautiful thing to behold. The 3.9 litre twin turbocharged V8 sitting low and deep inside the car, but you have a lot of air, and part of the visual drama is being able to see that element at the back of the car. So if we continue down towards the rear, this has all been heavily reworked. The twin exhaust pipes, carbon fibre, a very aggressive diffuser going on down here. And one of my favourite aspects, just to show you actually, is this for reducing the swelling from the rear wheels, the way the air can just flow out through the back, again through a nice carbon fibre trim component there at the back, which just finishes it very, very nicely. So this is an incredibly quick and capable machine. There are some actual small details as well. If I just come in a little bit closer, this is another one to talk about. So as the air is directed around the car, the more turbulent air that sticks to the body is reduced via this additional part here, independently of the air that's taken in to cool for the intercoolers in the back. So you can tell engineers have worked pretty hard on this to make sure they get it right, and it's wearing the carbon ceramic brakes as you expect to see on a Ferrari. All Ferraris come with the carbon ceramics, but there is some very detailed work in the Aero Powertrain derived from the Challenge Race series, obviously using the road gearbox, the 7-speed double clutch. That particular car in Rosso Corsa looks absolutely lovely. Let's move on now though to take a look at the other. Now this car looks lovely. The light silver paintwork with the blue stripes. It has dual stripes rather than the triple colour tone that we saw on the previous car, but this is a very, very nice configuration. And I think most importantly to show you right now are the carbon fibre wheels. So optional on the car for about 15 to 18,000 pounds or so on the optional spec. It's not been finalised yet. You can now have the carbon fibre wheel design that you can see right here. So the optional forged wheel is 20% lighter than standard. This is 40% lighter than standard. So the normal wheels would be about 50 kilograms for the set. These are about 30 kilos, so we're talking 7.5 kilos per wheel. Don't be too afraid of damaging them because they can be repaired from very light curbing. They do look very, very nice. Just I'm not entirely sure about the cost. Obviously the unsprung mass element is very significant. Being able to reduce that makes the driving experience significantly benefited as a result. But just to see around the front of this car as it spins around in front of us, it is a gorgeous looking car. The 488 has always been very, very smart, but now with a little bit more aggression to it, the design work, the way this S-duct works through the front, where you can see almost the way the light reflects off the visual lines around the car and the shapes that have been sculpted and created, works very, very well. So let's check out an interior. On the inside then, open the handles on the exterior of the door there. So door pulls done away. This car is finished in a very, very nice way with the Alcantara, very stripped out, satin carbon fibre here you can see on the door sills. In fact, underneath the floor carpets I can even see that the entire floor is carbon fibre down there. So let me just slide back the seat, equipped with the racing harnesses, naturally, pretty much required if you want to drive the car on the racetrack and have a proper experience. The door cards, again, satin carbon fibre. Let me just take a step in and have a look around what we have in here, most of which is of course familiar from the 488. You have the digital displays either side of the rev counter, and then to pull the door closed you would pull this grab handle in. Outside of there we've got the LED carbon fibre driving zone, so the shift lights at the top of the wheel. It's a lovely steering wheel. All the controls and commands and inputs are pretty much on there where required. You have the Manettino with your different driving modes, so wet, sport, race, CT off, or all the way you'd press and hold that, traction would turn off, where you then get slip slide control 6. So the latest developments of Ferrari's traction control software that will now individually brake each wheel on a variable scale by computer control for maximum ability to slide and enjoy it. So that sounds remarkably fun. No doubt to drive it would be absolutely spectacular. Just looking around, I don't know if you can get the passenger display that you could otherwise have. Obviously that would be adding weight, so it wouldn't necessarily be the correct point in a car like this. We've got a slightly off-colour Alcantara in here for the materials, which is very, very nice. And just check this out. If I spin the camera back, look at that view into the engine bay behind us. And the lip spoiler at the rear sticking up as well. That is stunning. Amazing. They make a very good job of creating engines that just look beautiful to admire and enjoy. So driving in here, lift system available to raise the car up should you wish. You have various controls, pit lane, speed limiter, effectively your cruise control, set the speed you want to be driving at. And you have the controls on each side for the different displays. depending on what you've got going on. Obviously, launch control to get that 2.85 seconds off the line. That is phenomenal speed. But then the car is a bit lighter as well than standard. This car is a 90 kilo lighter car than the 488 GTB. Comes in at 1280 kilos, 1,280 kilos in total. And just step back out. Let's take a last, I guess, farewell to the interior, and you can see looking around there, and obviously consider that it's taken out some sound deadening, it's lighter, it's got a lighter exhaust system, lower use of materials, obviously contributing to that weight saving on the car overall when you consider it versus the regular machine. So what else can I tell you other than just taking a look at it, taking it all in, admiring the beauty of the Ferrari 488 Pista. Yes, actually, let's have a look at this, because this is quite nice. This is actually straight through, an additional spoiler underneath the top mounted spoiler here, where you can see straight through the back of the car for airflow underneath. It's all working in harmony and sync with other parts of itself to operate and cleanly bring the air through and ensure that it's as slippery through the air as possible. Just taking it all in myself. Obviously the F1 style reverse light in the centre, those large silver exhaust pipes protruding out of the back, but this almost double leveled diffuser down at the bottom with the vanes to guide air through and around the car as well. What we have here is the carbon fibre wheel, and the most impressive part about this is I can literally take it with one hand and pick it up. It is remarkably light when you consider that that is the wheel for the car, and it's finished with some special layering to protect the material. Also, if you look around the side, you can see that it's one single part carbon fibre all the way through. There are no joins on this wheel. That is very impressive. Unsurprisingly, it's rather busy around the 488 Pistas, but let's just take a moment to look at some of the other cars that are here on the stand, including the lovely 812 Superfast. Obviously, this car with the 800 horsepower V12. This is one I particularly like. A very, very pleasant driving experience. Front engine GT, Hyper GT almost in terms of what that is capable of. And next to that, we have the GTC4 Lusso, available with a 690 horsepower V12 or a 660 horsepower V8. This car is the V12, just reading on the plaque next to the car there for a little bit of information, but the four-seater luxury car, one that obviously I lust after at some point to supersede the FF that I previously owned. But it was mostly about this. Over at the far end, you can see the white Portofino. Drove with one of those very recently, so check out that video if you'd like to know a little bit more about it. I'm just going to squeeze through to get one glimpse of the car over here, with a small distraction on the way, because this is of course the engine in the car that we have been looking at just now, the 3.9 litre turbocharged, twin turbocharged V8 with the carbon plenum on the top. This is a new element to the 488 Pista, having the carbon there, obviously helping with airflow through the car and keeping weight down as well. Traditionally a very heavy component, it's made out of more natural metal, but this is the car I wanted to see, the 488 Spider in a beautiful paintwork. Blue on this car is stunning. Carbon fibre that you can see around the front, lower parts of the splitter, the cream interior to contrast against the blue, but that's what the normal traditional side vent would look like. You can see how it splits the airflow going through to the engine here or through to the intercooler in the lower section versus how it works on the Pista. So 488 Spider. Anyway, it was all about the Pista today. It is a stunning car. It's no doubt going to be incredibly impressive to drive, and I hope at some point in the future to get an opportunity to do so. With a last glimpse at the Portofino on this side, I think it's time for me to wrap up my visit here to the Ferrari stand at the Geneva Motorshow. The Portofino is a stunning car, but this, the 488 Pista, is just going to be something else. So I hope you've enjoyed this first look, taking in some details, information, some of the styling, aerodynamics, what else is going on with this car to make it so fast around the track. Hopefully there'll be an opportunity to drive it in the future, so be subscribed, watch this space, and I'll be sure to let you know if that is possible. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you're subscribed also for more coverage from the Geneva Motor Show. That's it for now though. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.